Hi, this is Nathan Tintle. In this Learning Goal video, we will talk about how to create two-way tables. We will use the good and bad perceptions data set to talk about this learning goal. Here's data from the study showing for each of the 30 respondents their variable value for each of the two variables. Specifically, whether or not the person was asked a good year or bad year question, as well as whether the respondent indicated a positive or negative perception of the year. So the data for this study, we can say, consists of two binary variables. Binary means a categorical variable with two categories. Data tables like the one we're showing you here are not easy to interpret. So the goal is to summarize these. The key to the first step in summarizing data like this is to recognize that each person, each of the 30 people here, can be counted as part of exactly one of four groups. Recognizing this, we can create something called a two-way or contingency table. Each cell or entry in the table indicates the number of observational units that have a specific combination of categories. So for example, 15 individuals got the good year question and indicated a positive perception of their year. Similarly, 4 people received the bad year question and indicated a positive perception of the year. 3 and 8 are the other two entries in the table. And then around the edges of the table we have the totals, the column and the row totals. The convention when making these tables is that the explanatory variable creates the columns of the table and the response variable creates the rows of the table. A few words of caution. When you summarize the data into a two-way table, this is the first step towards ultimately summarizing the evidence for association. But it's not the last step. Importantly, just comparing the counts here, 15 individuals who were asked the good year question indicated a positive response. 4 people who were asked the bad year question indicated a positive response. That's not enough to talk about association. We'll talk about that in other learning goal videos. But the key there is more people got asked the good year question to begin with. 18 people were asked that question compared to only 12 who were asked the bad year question. So these 2x2 tables or two-way tables are not enough by themselves to tell us about association. We'll talk about that in other videos. Second important point, software will create tables like this for you automatically, so when you're given the raw data table as we show you at the beginning of this video, where each row in the table indicates a particular individual's responses, if you want to turn that into a two-way table, then typically you can just put that into your software program and it will do it automatically. The web applets that go along with this book will do that for you. Finally, two-way tables don't have to be 2x2. In this case, we have two binary variables. That is, each of the categorical variables has two categories. In later learning goal videos and later chapters of the book, we will look at variables that have multiple categories, but you can still use these two-way tables in those cases. A related point, some students say, how do I remember which variable goes where? And while you don't have to create your two-way tables in the way that we do, we will always show you the same structure with the explanatory variable creating the columns. So one way to remember that is that the explanatory variable, which has the x in the beginning of it, goes on the x-axis, creating the columns of the table.